Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the invitation, of course. So for those who don't know me, I'm Anna Zo, and I'm project manager at Music Innovation Hub. That is a music company and social enterprise focused on music innovation and also social impact, based in Milan. Tonight for us, today for Christine, and tonight for us, we are gonna talk about streaming, which is of course a huge topic within the music sector. So very excited to talk about that. And we are gonna do that with Christine Nitsch and Alex Braga, that I thank so much for being here, and that I would let introduce themselves, who you are, what do you do, what's your job, your company, and tell us more about you. Maybe starting from Christine.
Okay.
Of course.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much for having me. I'm really excited. So my name is Christine. I oversee strategy, business development, and research at Soundcloud. I've been with my company for 8.5 years, so for quite a long time. I feel sometimes like a dinosaur. Yeah, for those who don't know SoundCloud, I can also spend a little bit of time on what we do. So SoundCloud is a Swedish company. We're headquartered in Germany, so very European. We have the largest community of audio creators on the platform, 25 million people that have uploaded ever to SoundCloud. So it's yeah, it's a huge community. We are global. We are live in more than 190 countries. SoundCloud in the streaming landscape stands apart from the more traditional digital streaming service providers, such as Spotify, Apple, or Amazon, because we are really a place for discovery and connection. On SoundCloud, basically, what makes us different is that you as an artist, you can directly share and upload real time to the platform, and then with that also really to the world. And our users tend to be very passionate about music. And so we are really a place for artists to take the first step in their career, to reach these really passionate users. And from that, they can take the first steps in building a loyal fan base and start their career. So this is in a nutshell what SoundCloud is.
Thank you.
So shall I introduce myself, Anna?
You should.
All right, so I'll just go ahead. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't see myself. Okay. My name is Alex Braga, and thank you for being here in the panel. I am an artist, and I was an artificial intelligence artist touring the world before COVID started. And in March, when the pandemic hit the world, I had to focus on how to make a living without being able to go out and play on a stage. And so I started up Alive, which is a streaming platform that focuses on it, which is a video streaming platform of live performances that focuses on real-time interaction between the artist and the fan base. So basically what we work on is to create a new concept of digital augmented emotion, a digital augmented experience to connect the artist with his fan base. The fan base can jump on stage with the artist virtually, of course, and can create content that the artist can use in an endless loop of creativity and creation. So we don't do live stream concerts. We think we do much more than that. And we are working on developing new tools to enhance the creativity of the artist and to bring the possibilities and the capabilities of an artist to monetize his art and his work on the next level.
Thank you so much for the introduction. We, of course, will go deeper in both topics. first ask, I would like to ask Christine, I mean, the music streaming is of course a huge component of the music market right now. It represents over 60% of the recording industry total value. So it's really huge. And SoundCloud has been pretty much of the center of the attention of the music sector, at least of what I read about the music sector, because it has been experienced the first profitable quarter, and it has, as you mentioned, over 250 million tracks, which is amazing. And also because of this super attention that it puts also not only on the listener side, but also on the creator side, which I think is a huge part of the service that you provide. Could you elaborate more on this and explain us the strategies that has been developed over the years to reach this point right now, to face the pandemic and to cope with this super fast developing situation that we are living with the music?
Yeah, sure. There's a lot in there in the question.
Yeah,
so,
I know. And you have 2 minutes. No, I'm kidding. You have more. You have more.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for pointing it out. We're super proud that we have recently, had our first profitable quarter, and that's really, I mean, it's a tremendous success for us. The company, as you may know, had in a few years back, we were in a very different situation. So we are very proud to have such a stable and healthy company. And that is really attributable to, we have a very strong executive team, Carrie Trainer and Mike Wiseman, who have done a tremendous job in leading us. And I think over the last years, what the company strategy really was very focused on enabling the creator. So really giving these 25 million of contributors and artists the tools that they need to share their works in a very easy and seamless way with the platform and the world, having the right insights, having the right ways to interact and understand their audience. And I think this is really at the core of what makes SoundCloud different, and also what we will like further grow in the future. But yeah, at this very core, that was really, I think, has a lot to do with the success that we have had over the past. And as we think about what lies ahead for us is, and if you look at what is actually happening in the market, so one really big industry trend that we see and that we are also a meaningful part in, or take a meaningful part in, is the success of the direct artists or the independent artists. These are artists that are not necessarily represented by a label, but they can stay in direct control of their career. And this has, over the past 2 years, emerged as the strongest growing sector within recorded music. So right now, this is roughly around $1 billion. We estimate that it will grow to 3 to 4 billion over the next 5 years. So there's a tremendous growth opportunity in there. But the good thing is also that it's really also beneficial for the creativity and the creative diversity in the global music landscape. Because the direct artists are, these are individuals that can make their own career and are fully in control. And this is what we want to enable further. And the way we want to enable that is really leaning into giving the artists these tools that they need in order to make their work successful. But then on the listener experience side, we have, of course, a streaming experience that is comparable in certain ways to other DSPs. But here we want to lean much more into enabling this discovery and connection. And Alex, there would be, in particular on the connection part, I think it would be really, I'm so interested to hear more about A-Live and the way you want to, or how you think about the engagement between artists and fans or participants, basically, and the emotional element therein. But this is what we want to, so the connection piece is what we want to build out further. And then in June 2019, we've acquired a company that's called Repost Network. Repost is a distributor and creator services company where we can basically help talent that and artists that we find that have success on the platform, on SoundCloud, to also find more success on other DSPs, on radio, in the music landscape overall. And so this is really that we can help not only artists to find success on the platform, but far beyond, and help them throughout their career in a way.
Yeah, which I think is, I mean, so important, like that you're really trying to build an ecosystem and not just a super centralized, I do everything by my own platform. So that's really great. And how's the feedback, the reaction from the artists? Like, are you receiving like interest and, I mean, you know, it's a challenging target as well. So I'm just wondering how's the reaction and the welcoming from the artists.
I think overall it's, you know, of course, well received, because I think we really, for us, enabling the creator is the most important piece. It's at the center of our mission, and SoundCloud is a really purpose-driven company. So I hope that the artist community also sees us as strongly aligned by our efforts in and trying to enable artists to grow. So overall, I think the feedback is great. I think the one thing that I note is that and maybe this is also something that I should have touched on in your question, like how COVID has impacted in the recent times. What we see is that a lot of, you know, as Alex also mentioned, musicians now have it's a challenging time with the live sector basically being shut down. So how can you make sure that you can still make a living? There's a lot of creative energy that we see, a lot of pickup in releases and new content on the platform, but finding new ways of monetization and making that meaningful, and a meaningful and structured component of an artist's career. This is something that I think the music landscape still, or the music industry overall, still needs to figure out.
Yeah, that's a very important point. I mean, I feel like now that, of course, like artists have always in a way been forced to find new ways to think about different alternatives and different formats. There has been an acceleration and a run towards new models of monetization and of valuing your own music. So that's super important. And that also relates very much to what Alex is doing, which I think is in an interesting position to have both the hat of the artist and one of the entrepreneurs in this sense. So how are you experiencing this from an artist perspective, but also, of course, with your newborn baby of Alive? So could you tell us more about that, and this, especially this connection mechanism that Christine was pointing out before as well?
Sure. First of all, I'm very flattered to be able to speak after Christine. I mean, SoundCloud is a huge company, and I've been aware and a fan of SoundCloud for many years now. But we are just newborn. So as you were pointing out, we jumped on the crisis to try to create an opportunity. As I was mentioning before, I was making my living with music before the pandemic, and as many artists, when the crisis hit, it became very difficult to think about how to monetize if you don't have a huge revenue stream coming from your songs, from copyrights in radio and stuff like that. There is artists that can, that are living very well at the moment because they just sit there, and every time their song goes on the radio, they just get money. It's not, but it's just like because maybe a 5% of the whole base of musicians in the world. Not to mention the whole stakeholders that work for music and for the live business industry, which is an industry that goes and creates about $30 billion each year in the whole ecosystem. So I am an artificial intelligence artist and a multimedia artist. So for me, the multimedia part of the performance and the interaction between the artist and the machine, and the artist and the machine and the audience has always been a centerpiece of my research. So when all this started, I just tried to put all these things together and say, okay, there are a lot of streaming platforms, YouTube itself, Facebook itself, it's a streaming platform, but what is the limit of this? Well, the limit is that these are not tools to enhance the creativity and the productivity of the artist in any ways. These are not tools to make the artist get the lead of their data that they generate, because these are tools that exploit all the leads of the data you generate, and they give it to a tech company, which is not what you want to do in the first place if you're an artist. I mean, you want to play your music and be able to earn the money you need and earn the fan base you want, meaning you must earn also the lead on your data. So we started on this thought and we said, okay, let's try and do something that breaks the barrier and the frontier. So first of all, let's put the audience on stage with the artist in real time in a live feed. So the artist is not playing watching a webcam, but is playing watching his actual live crowd. A live crowd that is moving, that is cheering, that is dancing, that is reacting to what is playing. I played social concerts when the pandemic started, as many other artists did, doing concerts on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. And the difference between playing a live concert on a live stage and between doing a social streaming is the difference that there is between doing the real thing and a pale imitation of what the real thing is. So imitation is what we need to avoid. Let's start to think about a different frontier. Let's try to think about a new territory, and let's not talk about streaming concerts anymore. Let's call them digital live experiences, for instance, digital augmented emotions. And let's work on that, because that is what is going to make us win the combination of giving an artist a new powerful instrument and tool to play, to create something new that didn't exist before. This is what is going to give the fan a new experience that they cannot live in a live environment, but they can live on a digital platform. And this match is going to create a new market. And it is exactly what it did and what happened. And so this is exactly where we are positioning Alive. All the research that we are doing with our team is based on those experiences, starting from the creative artistic side, going through a tech process between coders that try to translate this need and urge of expression and communication with the fans into a digital tool that can give this urge to the fan and translate it into a digital augmented emotion and give the real-time feedback to the artist so he can grow in real time with that energy and deliver it right back to the audience in an endless loop of creativity. And this is exactly what makes Alive different from, I don't know, Live Now, Maestro, all the other streaming platforms that are out there. I mean, it's super easy to just book a super huge artist like Billie Eilish and stream a concert like the TV used to do, but you do it online. Okay, but what's the point? What's new about that? Nothing. It's just that you are selling tickets. Oh, big deal. I mean, DICE has been doing that for many years. So that there's nothing new. The real groundbreaking challenge here is to invent new tools and to create new tools. Otherwise, first of all, when the pandemic is going to be over and we hope this is going to happen really soon, all these companies are going to die because their market is going to flat down to a flat line, because everybody would want to do the live experience and not the digital experience. If it is an imitation, a pale imitation of the live experience, where do we win? Where do we survive? Where do we create something new? If we create a new emotion through the digital channels, living in a hybrid state of mind. So the keywords are these two for me: the hybrid experience, the hybrid concept, which I think is going to lead the way in the next future, and the digital augmented emotion that goes from the live to the digital, going back to the live experience, meaning that you can exploit all the technology you can to do tools that can let you interact with your artist, with the environment you're in, with other players around you physically, but also digitally. So the phygital world is going to be very, very important. This is what's going to matter. So we are going to position alive, and we're going to create more and more and more phygital experience, forcing the people to go out in the real world to live augmented digital experience through the territory, through the combination of meeting other people, going and exploring new places, and not living inside a screen and behind the box. The real risk we're running here is to lose the sense and the very meaning of life. What the pandemic brought us was a super high connection with everybody in the world, super fast connection with everybody in the world, running the risk of making this connection completely meaningless and useless, taking away the sense from the connective texture of our life. And our role is now to put the sense, to put the meaning of life back into that. And how do we do that? We do that by working on beauty, working on emotion, more than engagement. This is why I really challenge the people. I was yesterday was a guest, no, 2 days ago, I was a guest in a panel of the so-called CEO New Perspective for the New Trends of Lifestyle. And I was one of the CEO speaking. And I was the last one to talk, and they were all big guys from the market. I mean nothing. I mean, I'm an artist, I'm not a CEO. And I started my speech begging these people to stop using the word consumer. We have consumed everything that we could. If we are inside the pandemic, it's because there's nothing more to consume and waste. Music is not a consumer product. You don't consume music, you live music, you experience music, you live in the beauty of it. So by changing all these aspects, we find our way out, and we start putting back the meaning of life inside a hybrid experience, which I think it's not bad at all. It's not evil at all if we think it in this way. Of course, if you take it on the other side, and if you try to tell people that streaming concerts are like real concerts, and that's a lie. That is a lie.
Yeah.
Sorry, I might went a bit off topic, but
No,
I get fired up.
That was super interesting, but oh my gosh, so much stuff. I need to find a hook now to keep the conversation. No, it was very interesting, Alex, and of course I'm a big fan of Alive, and we proved it. So that's of course that's a direction that we share. So that was very interesting. And I think just small parentheses, I think that if the attendees want to ask questions, they can make it in the chat, and then I will leave 5 minutes after in the end to answer the questions. So of course, feel free to ask questions. And it was very interesting also because I think we already pointed out a lot of trends that we are observing now in the music sector. We've been talking about hybridation, which is, I agree, something that we are not gonna lose in the when this whole pandemic is gonna be over. I'm sure it's something that it's now in our DNA, and it's gonna stay. We have been talking about interaction, which is of course a huge part of new creative expression and of new horizons for the interaction between on the relationship between artists, creators, and audiences. So I mean, we are observing really, I don't know if it's because I know I have more time and I'm reading more, or it's because really there is so many things going on and so many experiments and experiences that we are living right now in the industry, which is of course exciting in a way, and that we as industry operators, I think, need to be very calm and strong to make these things that we are observing right now become instruments for a better music ecosystem, and for maybe also a more valued music ecosystem, which is something that I'd like to. I was talking with Christine before, and I think it's a super important topic to touch in today. I think, I mean, the value issue, the music value issue, is something that has been very much debated and very much felt, especially in these times, as Christine was pointing out, where of course artists couldn't really live on their live tours, but mostly on their streams, and they are really trying to come up with new solutions, and we've been seeing many platforms. I mentioned, for instance, Patreon, which is another platform that, of course, enables this kind of very close relationship between users and creators. But we've seen many more. Like, we are observing on-demand models rather than flat subscription models like the ones of big platforms like Apple that put within a same offer the movies and the music and whatever it takes, like in a very flat subscription model. So with blockchain and with the on-demand and specific music items being sold. So that's something that is it's very relevant right now within and the pandemic really rose this issue and this question of how to really make music valuable and to make people recognize that's the value of this wonderful thing is great. So this is not really a question, it's just a more open discussion that having you today, I think it's important to hear your point of views on that.
Yeah, I have one thing that came to my mind as you were elaborating is, I think when I think about the rise of streaming that is now mainstream, one thing that I continue to come back to and grapple with is this role of discovery, and basically how you can, as an independent creator, break, so to say, and create relevance. Because now that a lot of the consumption or listening is actually happening on the big streaming services, and the way they are set up is they're mainly set up in, and that was already a thing before the pandemic. And I think now, as there's more economic pressure for artists, that becomes more apparent. But the struggle with actually discovery and becoming relevant that artists have in the with bigger DSPs, and then in mainstream land, so to say, is that these services are all optimized for relative lean back consumption. So it's like music in the background, long playlists, and it's not so much the connection between the love that you want to give to an artist that you just find amazing, because that's not how these services are set up. And that somehow I find has led to a bit of an erosion of like this emotional connection between a fan and an artist. And in addition, as you pointed out, the economics are really, it's mostly one price point that also seems to be decreasing. So somehow these economics are not really set up to having the individual succeed, and that's a bit sad. I think going forward, And, you know, as Alex pointed out, having these, there is a tremendous opportunity in enabling these smaller communities, which now, as you know, there's a lot of, as we now all live in a tighter digital environment, we learn that this emotional connection is also really important, and that smaller communities can be facilitated and can be really meaningful. And there is a bit of an iteration now on what are the right monetization models that can help artists succeed. Patreon is one. Then, you know, there are different, I know that a lot of live streaming services are thinking about it. We are certainly thinking about it. How can we make how can we make this more meaningful for artists? And I think this is a really tremendous opportunity to bring the direct connection between artists and their fans back and make that meaningful beyond beyond just the per stream rate.
Yeah, I agree.
I think sorry, Anna, if I can add one thing to what Christine was saying, is that it is, I think, for me as an artist before being an entrepreneur, the standing that we have to make now is to fight to get our value recognized, even if it's a small value, because being paid because the user, and now I can call it a user, because uses all the music like in an all-you-can-eat formula, and maybe movies and maybe pizza delivery all in one service, and my music in there as well. It's not what I really want to, it's not where I really feel myself at ease as an artist and as somebody that needs to make a connection with my fan. I'd much rather study and go for a business model where there is a, even if it's a very small, but it's a punctual revenue stream pointing at my connection with myself and my fan base, because that makes it that's where the meaning comes from. Knowing that you're doing something not for a pizza, but for somebody that is there listening for your music and ready to pay for your music, to pay for see you performing live in some kind of a digital exchange or a hybrid exchange of emotion. So the all-you-can-eat system, I think, is one of the main responsible for the loss of meaning that we are experiencing in society at the moment. So it is a business model that we should abandon as soon as we can. I know this, what I'm saying is against the big profit of big companies, but the big profit of big companies is not, it's not at all what it's going to make an ethical world of our world. And we need to develop a consciousness. We see it now on the pandemics. I mean, as soon as we exit the lockdown, the people start to behave like nothing happened, like we don't have a social consciousness. And so we are back in like a Groundhog Day. We're stuck in this thing that we enter lockdown, we exit lockdown, but we behave like shit. And then we enter lockdown again, and then we exit lockdown, and then we complain, and then we do it. But there is not really a thought behind a way to get out of this. And changing the way we spend our money, it's the only thing that we can do to get an influence on the world, because it is the real power that everybody has. Everybody, every single one of us has. The way you spend that €0.99, the way you spend that €1, where you put it, that's what makes the difference. And this is what we should really care about.
Yeah, that's very important, and as both of you pointed out, I think we are really experiencing a great opportunity to actually make this happen and to bring this value back in a way. So that's very, very true. And I'm not seeing any question from the audience, so maybe I would just do one last question to you. But of course, guys, feel free to ask more if you want. In this way, like, do you think that I don't want to sound like paternalistic in this, but like, get me right. Do you think there's a need of artist education in a way? Do you think there is a need of training artists to pretend and to adapt to this new kind of models? And I don't want to sound we need to educate them, but this kind of training and awakening and raising consciousness on this fact, also not only from the listener or user side, but also from the creators themselves.
I mean, I can go first, but Alex, you know, you're the artist ultimately. But so I've been with the company for 8 years, and you know, now I know my way around the music industry. But as I started at the first years, it was mind-blowing to me how incredibly complicated the music industry is, and how complicated it is to stay on top of all the different ways and modalities of earning your income and what you need to get in place. And a lot of our users are very young. They are, you know, they are teens that are just starting out from their bedroom. And it's, when we speak, I also lead audience research and often talk to them directly. And in parts, I am incredibly impressed how knowledgeable they are, but also it becomes very apparent how much work it was for them. And I wish, and we have like creator education programs, but I just wish we could make that easier and more accessible, and also help to share these best practices about how can I build my following? What are the best steps to take the first to make the first move, so to say. What we are doing is a lot on, you know, we have blogs, websites, we have creator fora, and we also have Twitch shows. So these are live streams where we try to connect the creative community more. This is also something that we've observed that the pandemic has really caused, because everybody is now at home. The creative community actually really seeks, like, they struggle to find the connections to others and like just get feedback and sound out, because it's also super scary to share your work with the world, specifically when you start out, specifically when, you know, you're still, it's like giving away a piece of your heart and you don't know how it's received. So yeah, I think creator education is a really, really big topic, and enabling these connections is not only enabling the connection to the audience, but also enabling connection between artists, so that they can help each other and be there either in their creative process or in sharing how to make a living.
Now, as you well know, I am fighting this battle almost daily, and I figure that yes, we have to help the artists to understand the new possibilities of enhancing their creativity and thus monetizing their art. But I think that the radical change will happen when this transformation will hit the long tail, which is always the main engine to sparkle a revolution. Because now what we are experiencing is that there is a well-established artists that were doing huge streams of revenues with an old school model. Concerts, ticketing, physical concerts, selling records and stuff like that. Then there was a first shock to this market where a bunch of creators hit social networks, and they started to make music and to make a lot of money by making the social networks very rich. and they got a little piece of the cake, but it seemed to be enough for them. And it was the all-you-can-eat model I was talking about before. And now we are experiencing a new radical change, another era that is going to kick off, where the all-you-can-eat model is going to be abandoned for a more punctual model. And when this is going to hit the long tail, either the big established artists will learn their way through, or they're going to be swept away by the whole new generation of music creators that are going to use amazing, unimaginable tools at the moment that are going to blast away the experience for the fans. And so a fan is going to go for a new radical experience instead of listening to a record or going to a live concert if the experience ends there. So I think they should be educated now to be helped to understand this process. And as you know, we're doing this a lot with all the managements, with all the booking agencies, and with the artists themselves. Some of them are understanding, some of them are really old school and more conservative than the Queen. So they don't understand, they don't want to. It's like they're putting their head, they're stuck in their head under the sand and waiting for all this shit to pass away to be back with their multi-millionary tours and hoping that everything will go back to normal. But there's no going back to normal. And this is not the new normal. The only thing I see is a giant possibility to push a leap forward. So if we see this, we'll all push that leverage and we're all gonna jump. Otherwise, who knows?
Yeah. I see one raised hand, so I feel like the teacher. I think that I can allow to talk from Luca. Luca, can you talk?
Maybe you have to unmute because they still look muted.
Hey, hi.
Yeah, okay. Hello.
Hi. No, aspetta. Scusa, parlo in italiano. No? A parte no, stai parlando in inglese tra l'altro. No, scusa. Sì, sì. Yeah. How are you doing?
Good, thanks.
I was not sure. I talk in English because I normally talk in English here, but then, by the way, you're talking English too. But are you in Italy now, right? Are you in Italy now?
Yeah, we're a bit spread over the world. I think, yeah, Alex and me is Italy, and then...
you're around the world. Okay. Well, oh, sorry, because I'm meeting something now. Yes, what do you call it? Sorry, I joined your conference a bit late. I try to be over connected. Also today that I was a bit outside. I try also to connect with the phone. It's become a really obsession to be connected, even 100% of the time. But sometimes it's difficult. But yeah. Anyway, I try to join you, but not really. So I don't know so much about what you were talking, but yeah, it's nice to talk with you anyway.
So, Luca, I'm kind of missing the question here, since we're running out of time.
Yeah.
All right. No, okay. Yeah. Where are you talking from? I'm talking from Berlin now. And you?
I'm in New York.
And I'm in Rome.
Milan.
Okay, great. Now the question is now about the money. To catch the topic that you talk about, the decision how to spend the money, and there was a good topic. It was interesting it made me think a bit about. But yeah, and sorry, because I have a friend here. It's not used about this Italian way of speaking, and this is taking a lot of laugh. But anyway, no, nothing. No, it was just a talk. It was not really a question. Did I see
Okay.
questions?
Okay, thank
Cool.
you, Luca.
Where's
Thank
Anna?
you.
This is the question. Where's
Thank you.
Anna?
I'm
Yeah.
in Milan.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this was
Thank
it.
you. Okay. Anyone has a question? If not, I think we have spoken about a lot of stuff and it was very interesting. So at least
Thank you
for
very
me,
much.
yeah, thank you so much. And again, just let's keep in touch and keep the ball rolling, because I think we've been said a lot of stuff that really have a lot of sense. So thank you very much. Thank you, Alex, for the chance of speaking here, and Christine for joining.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Christine. It's
Go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so Alex, I think we really need to catch up because I'd love to learn more about A-Life. I know I owed you an answer on that anyway. I'm sorry that I've been slow to respond, and but yeah, I really, this is a topic that I'm so interested in, and that would be great. And I have a few thoughts on the economics of the industry that I'd love to share with you.
Right. The problem is that you're too far. You're in New York. Come back to Europe. We need you back in Europe.
But in the meantime, we Zoom.
Yes. Okay. Let's do it. Drop me a few lines so we can share sometimes next week. Okay.
That would be
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you, Anna, for the great moderation.
No problem. It was my pleasure.
Anna, you were wonderful. Thank you very much. It was amazing. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you. Ciao.
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 Oh.
Ciao. Ciao.